Not much more can be said about what an incredible season Kyle Schwarber is having and setting himself up for a massive offseason payday. But as the impending free agent continues to deliver for this Phillies team, the price point continues to climb with him breaking history with a 4 home run performance last night. I do want to reflect a little bit on just how special this season is, why these aren't just empty calorie statistics and the direct correlation to the success of this Phillies team, and just highlight where there may be a little bit of a special trend that I am excited to dive into in connection to the Phillies team success. So let's get right into it here. I do just want to start off with a 4 home run performance last night. Went 4 of 6 at the plate, 9 RBIs, 16 total bases. And I also love with a position player pitching in that 9th inning, Kyle Schwarber trying to go up there and jack another. He did ultimately end up popping out. He swung his heart out, and it would have been incredible to see him put 5 home runs over the fence, but I'm not going to sell him short with his 4. And to give a couple other stats that I did want to highlight, that just last night, or there have been 21 4 home run games in MLB history. There have been 24 perfect games. So what Kyle Schwarber did last night is amazingly more rare than a perfect game. And a couple other factors that I did want to dive into here: the impact on wins that Kyle Schwarber has had, that he's up to 49 home runs and 119 RBIs on the season. He's hit a home run in 43 games. The Phillies record in those 43 games, 33-10, a 767 winning percentage there. He's also had an RBI in 64 different games. The Phillies record in those games, 46-18, a 719 winning percentage. When Schwarber is going, so are the Phillies an MVP. Shout out to Bill Colorillo for signing off that tweet there. I do think we need to have a direct Kyle Schwarber should be MVP conversation. This is really a 2-horse race between Schwarber and Ohtani, and the distinguishing factor that is difficult to overcome when having the Ohtani conversation is always the factor of him as a pitcher. But I'm here to be completely honest right now. Shohei Ohtani on the mound has not been a dominant pitcher this year. We have to scale this about his offense versus Kyle Schwarber's, and that is a direct designated hitter versus designated hitter conversation there. We will see how this final stretch of the season ends, but I think it is very fair to assess that when you look at this Phillies roster, when you look at stats like this and the connection to Schwarber's production to the Phillies team's success, that I believe he's been more valuable to this Phillies team than Shohei Ohtani has been to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Again, there is still more baseball to be played, still a final stretch that we need to see lock itself up. I do think it should be open for conversation, and I understand that Ohtani is the clear betting favorite at this stage of the game, but I do think Schwarber deserves a bit more love and has a very legitimate case in itself. Now, the trend that I think will fire you guys up here is connected to the Phillies team success. What exactly that is, we got this tweet that I did want to pull up saying that Kyle Schwarber did it again, 4 home runs tonight. His 49 home runs puts him solely in second place among the Phillies single-season home run leaders, passing Mike Schmidt's 48 home runs in 1980 and Ryan Howard's 48 home runs in 2008. Ryan Howard holds the record with 58, which, by the way, is very much in play for Schwarber. But I did want to note those specific years of hitting those level of home runs with Mike Schmidt and Ryan Howard there. 1980 and 2008 also happen to be the 2 years in which the Philadelphia Phillies have won the World Series there. Some good vibes, some good karma, and I think Schwarber very much has a chance at breaking this franchise record. To highlight what he's done on the season overall from a statistical standpoint, 49 home runs, 119 RBIs, a 370 on-base percentage there. Across 500 at-bats, he's got 124 hits, 156 strikeouts, a 568 slugging percentage, also has stolen 10 bases there. This has been an incredible season. That he's second in the MLB in home runs, leading the league in RBIs, and last night kind of being the, exclamation point type of performance that we have seen from him. The thing that's special about Schwarber, too, is the just raw strength in his arms are ridiculous. When he turns on a pitch, there's a lot of the home runs where the second it hits the bat, it's gone. It's a little bit similar to like the Ryan Howard home runs back in the day, but there's a lot of guys like Bryce Harper, for example. Bryce can hit like a nice line drive home run that just gets out of the ballpark and sort of floats. Excellent contact, excellent swing, no disrespect or no shade on this, but there is something about when Kyle Schwarber hits one where he just turns on it and that thing just goes. And even like his 3rd home run last night, it felt like he didn't even really swing. He just kind of threw his hands at it and it just drifted out and went over to the opposite field for the fence for still a home run there. That is some ridiculous strength that I do think that there is a commanding presence that he brings to the plate here. All this production is only further evidence for why teams need to continue to pitch around him. We need to give Bryce Harper pitches to hit, as I guess the better way to look at that there. When you have a guy with this level of respect that it commands from opposing pitchers, it changes the entire approach from opposing team, and Schwarber just continues to add more evidence for why this is the case. Now, A couple other factors that I did want to dive into here is not only did he have his moment on the field yesterday, he's also going to have his moment in the big screen following this moment. As we get this tweet from Alex Call, who says, a few months back, Abbott Elementary reached out about having the Phillies' Kyle Schwarber on the show. The timing turned out to work perfectly for both parties. Quote, they set the filming for August 28th, a Thursday night. So 53 minutes after becoming the 21st man to hit 4 home runs in a Major League Baseball game, Schwarber stepped on the field in full uniform. A crew member ran a microphone through Schwarber's jersey. The director gave Schwarber and actress Quinta Brunson some notes, the fanatic observed. So pretty awesome moment for Kyle Schwarber. I do hope there's some sort of reference to that in the show in itself. I know Abbott Elementary does an awesome job highlighting Philadelphia. I won't lie right now, I have not had a chance to sit down and watch it, but I've heard nothing but good things. I know, and I work for Fox Sports The Gambler, the iHeart affiliate in Philadelphia. A couple of the actors, including Brandon Graham himself, have rolled through and kind of talked about it. So it seems like all good vibes. Highly recommend Abbott Elementary. I got to get into that myself, and maybe I'll have to tune in for the Kyle Schwarber episode. But the bigger picture that I did still want to reflect on last night, I think that was an impressive response from this Phillies team. That sweep at the hands of the New York Mets, in which they looked absolutely dreadful in Citi Field right there, this was good response to see. This was a team that looked like they cared. This was a team that looked like it wanted to send a message, and they did that with Kyle Schwarber leading the charge there. This is a dude that's valued as a leader, that sets the tone for this entire Phillies team, both from a roster perspective at the plate, the way that he carries himself, and the way that I think people follow that. Kyle Schwarber delivered last night, and this entire Phillies team was right alongside with him. And the other storyline that I did want to note that I think is beginning to develop right in front of our very eyes here is the center field position. And who that is mostly about is Harrison Bader right here. And to lay out Bader's now stats since joining the Phillies, that he's had 67 at-bats, has 21 hits across that stretch, 4 doubles, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, and 7 walks, slashing .313, .397, and .493. We are starting to see a sample size in which we can have some actual takeaways on. I'm very encouraged by what I've seen from Harrison Bader. And the number one thing that keeps circling back to me that I keep just wanting to describe him as, he's just a ball player, man. That there's just something about the mannerisms, the way this guy goes about his approach, both in the field when he's, tracking down fly balls or overruling Castellanos in right field or things like that. The little things that I do really appreciate. I do think this is a nice balance of the most complete center fielder by far on this Phillies roster. That we've done the thing where we talked about how Johan Rojas could be excellent defensively, but he's not going to bring you anything to the plate. We've done the thing where they've made some sacrifices defensively to try and make sure things are effective at the plate. We've seen Brandon Marsh, what he can do from, the stark difference in whether he's facing right-handed or left-handed pitching here. It all circles to me that this is shaping up to Harrison Bader being the everyday center fielder for the remainder of the season and this playoff push. And the other factor to keep in mind with Bader, I know we've acknowledged the contractual situation with Kyle Schwarber. There's a $10 million mutual option for next season for Harrison Bader and the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, my initial gut reaction, that does feel like a lot for Harrison Bader. That does feel like a strong amount that maybe they're going to want to renegotiate. But ultimately, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens after the conclusion of the season. He can prove it that both these sides can be completely in on the experience if things go 100% right. I do hope that is the case. But I do think Harrison Bader is starting to ultimately, separate himself a bit from the pack and earn that he should be the everyday center fielder, regardless of what opposing pitcher is on the mound there, whether it's a right-hander or a left-hander. He's doing his job right now. So shout out to Bader for coming in and acting like he belongs. He's just a ball player in a way that I think fits this Phillies team. We'll see how it all shakes out from there. But shout out to Kyle Schwarber for doing something that I had never seen like that before in my life there. A 4 home run performance, which should be remembered. Absolutely telling the story of the season and his impact on this Phillies team. That was a necessary wake-up call, putting 19 runs on the board for the Philadelphia Phillies there. So we'll see ultimately what goes down from here. Still in action for the remainder of the series against the Braves and a little less than 30 games remaining in the regular season. We'll see what all goes down, but appreciate you guys for tuning into this video here. Drop those thoughts on the Kyle Schwarber contract and outlook before, how impressed you were from last night and anything else that you got on your mind. Appreciate you guys for tuning into these videos as always. If you have not already, make sure you're smashing that subscribe button, dropping a like on this video here. I'll be back to talk with you next time. Peace.